As a party as UPC, we have asked for accountability. And recently, when the budget committee was sitting and talking about how much would be allocated, where we noted that there is about 60 million allocated to the swearing in of a presidential candidate or a president-elect. Does it really require that much money just to swear in a president? When we have roads that are repaired, we have 90% of unemployed youth across the country. Schools are understaffed with poor infrastructure. Hospitals are understaffed with lack of drugs. So as Ugandans, what we demand is we demand proper utilization of our resources. We are paying taxes when we are not earning much, when we are not getting the services, and it is unfortunate if government decides to misuse our resources. It's very unfortunate, but as Ugandans, we shall account and we shall ask for accountability of the resources that we give them. We don't have hospitals in some areas in the country. We do not have referral hospitals in some districts. Drugs are not in hospitals. Schools do not have infrastructure, not even textbooks. And you tell me a president-elect needs 60 billion. If that 60 million is diverted into creating jobs for the youth, is diverted into creating, building infrastructure, both schools, hospitals, increasing drugs in hospitals, equally distributed across the country, don't you think we'll have a better country? Why are we worshiping politicians vis-a-vis the service delivery? The actual Uganda that is paying taxes is suffering, and the few majority are enjoying this. As Uganda People's Congress, we are saying this must stop, and as UPC, we have opened our eyes and we are monitoring closely, and we shall not accept that as a party, because the national money or the national resources are being misused, and that is why as UPC we are coming up and we are saying this must stop, and during the 2026 elections we are bringing a candidate to put an end to this. The Electoral Commission has not done much to sensitize and has left the job of sensitization to political parties, probably because we are the ones that need the candidates, but also it's a responsibility of the Electoral Commission to educate the public of the importance of having people represented under special interest groups, and also informing the general public of when and where the elections are going to take place and what are the requirements. But on late, we have seen the roadmap, yes, but we are not seeing the Electoral Commission on ground or even taking a responsibility to sensitize the public on this, and therefore as UPC we call the Electoral Commission to come and take up its responsibility. UPC is calling upon all its members who fall under the category of the special interest groups to take note of the earmark dates and prepare accordingly, especially for the 28th of April 2025, which is the deadline for resignation by public servants wishing to participate in these committee elections. This activity is very key, as some leaders have in the recent past lost offices due to non-compliance to the requirement of resignation. I call that greed. There are some people who want to hold 2 offices at a go. They want to be a civil servant, and they also want to be members of the special interest groups and also elected. But the Constitution or the Electoral Act does not allow that. So if you want to stand under the special interest groups, you have to resign your job first and then do that. So we are saying you can't make your cake and eat it. If you want to stand for the participate in this election, you have to resign. And if you don't resign, obviously the courts of laws will catch you up, and at the end of the day you will lose a position, or you may end up lose both. So think hard and wise, and then take a decision on what you want to have in life. If you want to serve the people, please do resign and stand at the electoral positions of the special interest groups, or keep your job. UPC leaders at all party structure levels, especially the youth and the PWD leaders, are encouraged to massively mobilize and register potential members who are showing interest in carrying the party flag in the forthcoming elections of the special interest groups, which are due in June. In the circumstances as a party where there is more than one aspiring candidate in an electoral area, the party always considers the means of consensus. However, if that fails, we always have a third option of carrying out primaries, and we let the members elect their preferred candidate. And this is also done under the party electoral commission. So we have criteria on coming up with a candidate. One, we sit the candidates down, especially if there are two, and then we see how much support they have on ground and their potential in carrying out the duties, and then we sit them to come up to a consensus to allow one candidate. If that fails, the two candidates fail to agree or more fail to agree, then we take them into a primary where we let the people decide who their candidate will be. And you have noted in the Young North by-elections, the consensus worked very well, and we saw the victory we had. And it's not the first time the party has carried out that. So we are telling our candidates, it's okay to have more than one candidate in an election area, but these are the criteria we shall take in order to achieve the acquired goal. Following the adjustment on the national electoral map by the Independent Electoral Commission, the Independent Electoral Commission should double their efforts in sensitization of the masses about the electoral activities, especially when it comes to the special interest groups, as well as carrying out civic education on such activities as mandated. As I've noted on several occasions, while we were growing up, for us who got the chance to study in the then UPC schools, we had a subject called civic education, which, as I understand of today, the young generation have no idea what that means. We were told things coming from your right to vote, political education, and that is why when you look at a generation like ours, we are a little more informed about the politics around us. But when you look at the young generation today, they see what is on TV and that is what they know as politics, which is very different. And by removing that syllabus from the young generation to be told to understand patriotism, to understand nationalism, to understand their rights as a citizen, their rights as a voter, and these are things that the young generation after us do not understand. And in most cases, that is why youth across the world are the most vulnerable, and yet they are majority in numbers. It's because they clearly do not know who they are, one, they do not know what they deserve, two, and they do not know what is required of them. And this civic education guided the youth to understand the value of being a citizen and the value to demand what you deserve in a particular manner. And this is what is lacking. And unfortunately, the Electoral Commission as an entity or as an organization that is tasked with preparing elections and preparing Ugandans to participate into an election has done so little in advocating for civic education, has done so little in informing the general public of their rights, of the importance of voting. Unfortunately, next year, maybe around the beginning of or end of January or February, that is when you will see Electoral Commission carrying out adverts, informing the people, and then you will see their offices painted very well with pictures, educating citizens. And this is something that they should be doing at the beginning of the first election year. For example, 2021, Electoral Commission should have started immediately after the elections of 2021 up to today to keep informing the general public, educating them continuously, because every day someone is making 18 years and every day someone needs to understand why they are supposed to do what they are supposed to do in terms of electing their leaders. And this, on the side of the Electoral Commission, it has not done so much in ensuring that. And that is why yesterday I saw NTV was showing the number of members of parliament that have overstayed, or in terms of members of parliament, ministers. But this shows you that there is no generation that is coming up to take up leadership, are not informed enough to carry out their responsibilities. That is why today we don't have so much trust in our parliament, because we feel parliament has become an area for anyone who can just walk in or in an election to go to. But this goes back to civic education. People do not value their right as a citizen, and they are not patriotic enough to fight for their country. And this is what, as UPC, we are saying, Election Commission has to do more in enabling that. In the meantime, we call upon the party leaders and members at all levels to continue with the mobilization and registering of new members across the country for the party, which activity was launched officially by the party president early this year in February. We are saying much as the president, we are still working on his next tour. It does not stop members, does not stop leaders from all across the country to continue with the registration process, that by the time the president gets to your region, we are ready and good to go.